Coach, I don't know if you know where I went to school.
I don't.
Okay, I didn't go to Utah, but I was rooting. See if you can guess it. I was rooting very, very hard for you at the Rose Bowl last year. What do you think I went to school?
Michigan.
Yes, sir. Man, was I rooting for you in that game? Oh my gosh. So how much of a step forward do you think you can take from that game last year,
well,
Coach?
We got a lot of returning players. We lost some really good players. Don't get me wrong. Devin Lloyd, a first-round draft choice linebacker, Britt Covey, who was so instrumental to us in so many different ways, and a bunch of other good football players that have moved on to the National Football League. But we got a really good nucleus coming back. It starts with our quarterback, Cam Rising, first team All Pac-12 quarterback last year, and he is the leader of our football team. And we had a really good recruiting class that we brought in, and a bunch of those guys are going to be impactful right away. They've really shown up, and it looks like we hit the jackpot on a bunch of these guys.
So how much of can you take from that game, experience-wise, for the kids that did play in it, and obviously it didn't work out in the end, but what do you take from that game with those kids that can spill over into this season, Coach?
Well, it was a great experience for them, first of all, and to be able to be on that national stage and in that spotlight was great for our program, for our brand. And as you mentioned, there's a bunch of those guys coming back that are going to be with us this season, and it just makes you every experience you have, you grow as a football player, and we'll hopefully be able to handle the role of the favorite, which has been definitely not our MO. We usually sneak up on people, but we've stressed to our guys all year long it's harder to stay on top than it is to get to the top, and we got that target on our chest, and we got to be able to respond and be able to handle success. That's the bottom line. We had a very successful season last year. It was really the next step in the evolution of our program was to win the Pac-12. We'd won the South 3 or 4 times, got to the championship game 3 times, and this was the third time was the charm. We were able to get over that hump and take that next step, and now we got to take another step forward this year.
The challenge of going to the swamp is what? What do you got for me?
Oh, a huge challenge. I mean, down in SEC country, new season, new coach down there. They got a top 10 team coming into their place. I mean, it's going to be, a crazy atmosphere and environment. We're already obviously starting to prepare for that, but
yes,
that's going to be a big challenge for our football team.
I mean, week 1. I mean, just right off the bat. I mean, and then again, also going into the heart of SEC country and trying to strike a blow for a conference that definitely does not have the respect. I think you know that. Nationally, despite what you did last year, despite what other programs in the conference have done. Do you play that up with your kids at all, Coach?
Well, not necessarily that exact part of it and that piece of it, but you're right on the money. I mean, our conference has got to regain respect, and there's only one way to do that. It's on the field. I mean, you can't talk about it. You can't lobby for it. I mean, you got to go out and get some really quality wins, and that's bottom line. I mean, that's what it's going to take, and we have our opportunity this year.
Kyle Whittingham, head coach of the reigning Pac-12 champion University of Utah Utes football team, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. I do know, I've spoken to many coaches throughout my career, and I understand that you must control only what you can control and what is in front of you. That's my setup. That's my wind-up for this pitch, Coach. Are you concerned about the future of the Pac-12 right now, Coach?
Concerned, I don't think that's the right word. I think there's a lot more movements going to take place. I think we're heading to super conferences. I don't think there's any way around it. How those super conferences end up and how the landscape shapes up is, I don't think anybody knows exactly how it's going to play out, but there's going to be X amount of schools that are on the right side of the line in the sand when that line is drawn, and that group of schools will govern themselves as far as, I think they'll break away from the NC2A, have their own playoff system, and the gap between the haves and the have-nots is going to be huge. That chasm is going to be gigantic, and I think that's where things are heading.
I mean, that is I agree with you. I could not agree with you more, and it's refreshing to hear that from a head coach of a big-time college football program say that. So do you, in your spare time, call up your AD and school president and say, where are we at the seat at this table? Do you do that,
well,
Coach?
Not a lot of spare time, but when I do run into them on the rare occasion, I do get updates and kind of get a feel for what's going on and what what may be heading down the pike. But they don't even know. I mean, it's just going to have to be a waiting game and see how the cards fall.
And then, what was your thought when you heard the news that I'm sitting in Los Angeles here doing this show, Coach Whittingham, that this is now Big Ten country? What did you think of when you heard that news of UCLA and USC going to Big Ten?
Yeah, we had a team meeting the next day, and our stance on that is, hey, all we're focused on is our football team in this season, and this changes nothing in those regards. We got to be ready to play both USC and UCLA on our schedule for the next 2 years, and so it's business as usual, and don't let that be a distraction. Block it out, and just like you said, control the controllables and do our thing.
You don't say they're running from Utah? You didn't say that?
I did
running?
not say that. That was not part of the conversation. But
I think that's a line. You could use that line if you'd like it, Coach.
Maybe,
go for it.
I may have to use that. We may have to steal that.
Yeah,
one.
When you're playing against USC week, Lincoln Riley versus Kyle Whittingham, and coach versus coach, you just say they're running from us. Go ahead and say that, please.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're not writing that down. I have a feeling you're not looking for a pen and paper right now to write that down. No. Okay. Very good.
No.
All right.
No.
All right. Very good. I get it.